Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brendan, and I hope all of you guys are having a great day no matter where you are from. But I want to talk to all of you about how the price of Bitcoin is stuck right now. It's stuck in between a very large resistance level that is sitting just above the current price of Bitcoin and a fairly decent sized support area that is just below the current price of Bitcoin. And so what this has essentially done is trapped Bitcoin in between $25,000 on the high side and around $20,000 on the low side. So today what I want to do is explain exactly what can happen in this consolidation zone and what's going to happen when there is either a breakout or breakdown and what I think is the likely scenario. So if you're new to the channel, welcome back again. My name is Brendan and we make videos just like this one every single week, multiple times a week. And we always try to sprinkle in a little bit of the news, whether it is good or bad, to keep everyone up to date on what's happening in the great world of cryptocurrency. So let's start things out here and analyze what is this zone and how in the world it formed on Bitcoin in the first place. And so in order to understand that, we do have to take a little bit of a blast at the past here and see what caused this to be resistance for Bitcoin towards that $25,000 mark on the high end. And so if we go all the way back to the Terra Luna / UST crash from last May, then what we would see is that this is the exact area where Bitcoin bottomed at after this crash. And so this was acted as a support. Bitcoin got bought back up very, very fast from this zone. And after it was bought back, it eventually crashed through this level and then retested this exact same support zone as resistance. So ever since then, this has been previous support that has turned into resistance on Bitcoin. And so now what we're seeing is for the first time in a really long time over here, almost like 5 or 6 months, Bitcoin is retesting this previous resistance as continued resistance. So to summarize everything, this was a very large support zone that turned into resistance, and since we have not broken out of it yet, it is going to continue to be resistance for Bitcoin until it's broken. Now, why do I say that there's support at $20,000? Well, on the flip side of things, this is where Bitcoin had a couple of other tops. We can see that over here, it had a top right here, a little local top. It had a previous top over here, and then there was lots of consolidation beneath this. But what we can see is that really in between these two local tops, between around 21,000 and 20,000, this is one of the areas where Bitcoin has been able to break out of. And after this, it has come down here and already seen a little bit of support. So if we're going to draw a support line from really kind of the bottom of this structure, we can see that this correlates very, very well with what we're seeing over here at some of these previous tops. So again, Bitcoin was able to break through this previous top and essentially come back and use it as support after the breakout happened. So that's what I'm looking at over here on Bitcoin as I'm kind of analyzing this and saying, okay, well, as we get down to 22,000, we're definitely going to have some support here. Even at 21,000, we're going to have a previous high. Even at 20,000, we're going to have a previous high. And everywhere below this, there's just going to be a lot of previous consolidation, which is a good thing for Bitcoin to kind of find security. And even below all of this, there's still the 200-day moving average and the 50-day moving average, which are sitting just over here for Bitcoin. So that's what we're looking at the time of this. That's why I'm saying that there is a little bit of a zone. And ever since then, Bitcoin has just been chopping around, ricocheting, whatever you want to call it, just very much just chopping inside of this zone with an ever so gradual move towards the upside over here. So as Bitcoin is getting closer to this $25,000 resistance, remember, it's exactly that. It's going to be a big resistance level for Bitcoin. We have seen very large movements at this specific price previously. The last time that Bitcoin bounced off of this area to the upside, it caused it to do about a 24 to 25% bounce in a matter of a week. And the time that we rejected this last, Bitcoin rejected this, and I don't know, let's just say, in about a week's time, it fell almost 17%, and over the course of the next month or so, it fell about 30%. So this is one of those significant levels to watch out for. If we break out, it's going to be a fairly decent sized breakout. And let me just say now that if Bitcoin breaks the $25,000 level, I think that it is going to shoot straight up or very close to $30,000, because that is where the heart of this previous consolidation range up here is. So in between right here and right here, I kind of see a pocket for Bitcoin to just tear right through here. And what I think the likely scenario is that Bitcoin probably will tear straight through here and probably get up closer to the upper ends of 28,000, probably closer to 29 or even $30,000 before we really start to see it slow down and see its next level of resistance. So if Bitcoin does break out to the upside, I think it could push pretty close towards the $30,000 area. Now, if Bitcoin rejects, and actually falls back down here, I think that what we'll see is a rejection of 25, and Bitcoin probably likely fall back down into the low 20s or high 19s, where it's going to see some support at, again, this previous consolidation range, but also the 200 and the 50-day moving average. So those are going to be the two areas for, really me that I'm watching out for as we move into the future over here. So again, there is this kind of pocket right now in between maybe like $21,000 and $25,000. Keep an eye out on it. Keep an eye to see if support or resistance is going to break. I think that the move will be extremely clear. Right now, we're in a very slow grind consolidation phase where price is just ever so gradually moving in one direction or the other, for the most part, pretty much just to the upside. But I think that when we have this, the decided move, we're going to have it clear. There's going to be a big old candle, and there's going to be, oh no, was that the move? I don't think it's going to be something like that. I think you're going to see it, and you're going to be like, okay, well, that's a pretty clear, massive candle. That is, it's telling us everything that we need to know over here. So if it's a breakout to the upside and we see like a big candle like this, then you're not going to be looking at this and being like, oh, maybe is that the sign? Is that what we are talking about? No, it's going to be obvious. So I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I think that when the move happens, it will be fairly obvious, kind of like something that we saw over here. So that is what I'm thinking on the world of Bitcoin at the moment. Let's take a break and look at what's happening in the news as well, because what do you know? Crypto's favorite fanboy, Charlie Munger, is back in the news talking about crypto again. And my question is, at what point do you look at this and say, maybe we don't listen to this guy's advice anymore? Because he is saying that the US should follow in China's financial decision-making footsteps. Think about that for a second. He is saying that what China is doing financially for their assets and for what they are allowing their people to do financially, he's saying that China should follow, or that the US should follow in China's footsteps here. And so in what world do we look at this and say, maybe we shouldn't do that? I think that the Chinese economy, for anyone who's not watching it right now, it's kind of in a disaster. They have, the US has its own economic issues, but China has their own plethora of theirs. And I don't want this to become very geopolitical. I just very sparsely disagree. I very clearly disagree that the US should be following in almost anything that China does financially and what they allow their population to financially do. That in this case, it very much includes cryptocurrency. Obviously, I'm a big crypto advocate, so I don't think cryptocurrency ban. But I think for him to make the analogy saying that the US should follow in China's footsteps, that's just such a weird way to put that. He could easily come out and say that in a million different ways, and I think it would be received so much better. But to say that the US should follow in China's footsteps, I don't know. I just don't like the way that reads. Maybe I'm too geopolitical, but I just need to move on there. It's going to get me riled up, and I just think it's an awful idea. It's like a couple months ago, or not even a couple months ago, it was like a couple weeks ago when Cramer was telling everyone to sell off their assets, and I don't know if everyone saw this, but maybe I can pull it up. Jim Cramer the other day was saying buy. He was telling everyone to buy. And if you remember, for those of you who watch the channel for any extended period of time, you would know that we literally just made a video on him telling everyone to sell. He was basically saying everyone needs to sell. It's Armageddon. And now here we are 2 days ago. Jim Cramer says we're in a bull market, so buy the dip. I see this as a bearish thing. I do. I see this as a bearish thing with him saying that we're in a bull market. Hopefully he doesn't jinx the market. I also saw that Michael Burry, who had an amazing call in the great short of 2008. He made an amazing play there, made a lot of money, really smart guy, but he has been very routinely wrong since then. He's kind of a perma bear now. He was telling everyone to short right now, and Jim Cramer's telling everyone to long. So now it's this like paradox of whose luck is worse. But that's beside the point. Let's talk about some good news over here. The crypto miner Pow.re, I hope I said that right, Pow.re or Powery, raises a $9.2 million Series A to get an overall $150 million evaluation. They are focused out of Montreal, and they want to help in operating from locations that have stranded power. Now, if you're not familiar with what this means, we have seen a big push in the world of proof of work mining, mostly in the case of Bitcoin mining, to create a cleaner source of energy, more reusable energy. And a lot of these miners are partnering with people who are creating green energy and making sure that energy does not go to waste. So let's just say that if one of these like big energy farms is powering an entire town or an entire city, and then they have a bunch of energy left over, a lot of the time that energy would just go to waste. What these people do is they come in and say, hey, don't let it go to waste. Let it power these miners. Let us create a partnership. And that way they're using a very eco-friendly way to mine Bitcoin, and they're also not wasting power at the same time. And we're seeing a big push for this. In fact, we just interviewed someone for the DCS that's coming up, the Digital Currency Summit that we're hosting. So if you are not a part of that Digital Currency Summit, definitely come, join it. I'll try to get a link to that in the description down below, but you can also go to Crypto Revolution, and we should have something on there as well for the Digital Currency Summit. And if you're in Crypt Nation or Altcoin Alert or anything like that, definitely contact some of the moderators, because the Digital Currency Summit is coming up towards the end of this month, and it's going to be one that I think everyone's going to want to attend. I'm going to be one of the hosts of it, and it's going to be a great time. So with that being said, everyone, I think we're going to wrap ourselves up there. Right now, again, very much just in this sideways consolidation zone, but things seem to be performing pretty well. So what I personally think is that, I'm very bullish on pretty much everything moving forward here. I would love to see a dip, because I think dips at this point for me, again, I'm not giving anyone financial advice, no tax advice, nothing like that. But for me personally, I am extremely interested in buying the dip from here on out. There's a lot of great signs, from inflation falling rapidly to also the Fed rate hikes going from 75 to a 50, now down to a 25 the other day. So there's good signs across the board. And I think that the macros are slowly turning around, even for cryptocurrency. Hash rate's at an all-time high. MACD is at an area where it typically bottoms. RSI is typically at an area where the market has bottomed. So lots of stuff to look at over here. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you did enjoy this, consider hitting that like button, consider smashing that subscribe button, and I will see all of you in next week's video.